I've walked around and been able to speak to you all. There are some incredibly moving stories, stories of hope and courage, healing, and you all share that deep sense of gratitude that we all have in common actually for our local NHS, and the care and compassion that you yourself or your loved ones have received through our care. And I know from meeting you here today, I know from reading the thank you letters that I sign on a daily basis in my job, that it's often your personal experiences that motivate you to join us, to make a difference, and to make great things happen for Leicester's Hospital. And it's your motivations that motivate us as a charity team to make sure that we deliver on that promise, that we make sure that your donations really do go to the areas of the greatest need. While we're really proud, and we really are very proud, of everything that we've been able to achieve with your support, there is a lot more that we want to do. And so as we go forward into the next year and beyond, our focus really starts turning to our future projects. And together with your support, we want to make sure that we create dedicated spaces for families, for parents who have children in intensive care. We want to make sure there's some appropriate places for them where they can find comfort, moments of calm, a good night's sleep. So that's a project that we're focusing on. We want to fund more groundbreaking research. We want to make sure that we increase our research capacity, that we expand our opportunity for our chemotherapy lab so that we can bring clinical trials to Leicestershire, which will benefit patients in turn. We also want to equip our clinicians, our wonderful staff, to have the very best equipment available, to have the latest in technology, and to support their innovation, to support their ideas, because they often come to us with those brilliant ideas of what would make a difference and what could be better. And most importantly, we want to continue to build our relationships with yourselves. We want to build that trust with you. We want to make sure that you, our supporters, feel really confident that your donations are going exactly where they're needed. So today is a celebration of that impact. It's a celebration of all of you in the room, and an opportunity for us really to thank you in person. And so to officially open this program, I'm delighted to welcome someone who's a great champion and passionately champions our charity in his day job. And I would like you to put your hands together and welcome our Chief Exec, Richard Mitchell.
Thank you, Sunita. Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to see you. Can we have a round of applause for Sunita, please? I think over the last couple of years, the work that Sunita and her team have done has undoubtedly strengthened the charity here at the University Hospitals of Leicester, and I'm really personally grateful for that. So thank you. Looking around the room, I think there were quite a few people here last year, which means I have to change my speech. I was planning on doing exactly the same jokes at the beginning. They didn't work last year, they're not going to work well this year. But there's some newer people as well. So my name is Richard, and I'm the Chief Executive of the University Hospitals of Leicester, and I'm also feel fortunate and proud to be the Chief Executive of the University Hospitals of Northamptonshire, which is Northampton General Hospital and Kettering General Hospital. So UHL and UHN combined, we employ about 30,000 people, we have thousands of volunteers, and we care for over 2.5 million people per year. We work at scale. It really is a privilege. I think we have a huge opportunity to provide world-class care to our patients. I think we've got a huge opportunity to be a good employer, and we've got a huge opportunity to be a really effective partner of our communities. I just want to start by recognising the tragic news from India 2 days ago, where we know there were many people on their way back to the UK. Many people, according to the news, were coming back to Leicester, to Northamptonshire, to Derbyshire. And whilst I don't believe there's any one at University Hospitals of Leicester who lost their life in the plane crash, we do know of colleagues across the group who lost close family and friends. So just very briefly, we'll just remember those that we've lost. Thank you for that. So moving on to today, as Sunita said, we are really proud to work at University Hospitals of Leicester. I think we get a lot of things right, but we also know we're motivated collectively by making things better. Last year from memory, Bill, you were telling me, we started with a brief test, and so those of you who were here last year, you will know the answer to that, so I can't do the same test, but we're going to do something else. So there's a couple of questions. So the first question is, which NHS group in the country provides more patient care than any other NHS organisation? the University Hospitals of Leicester and the University Hospitals of Northamptonshire. That may surprise you because there's some very large organisations out there. But the colleagues at UHL and UHN, and we've got Lou and many others here, provide 14% more care than any other NHS organisation, which I think is remarkable. If you think at the scale that we work at, we have 5 maternity services. You touched on Sunita, we've got 7 community hospitals alone in Leicestershire. We have 3 emergency departments, etc., etc. We provide care at scale, but we're motivated, and I think there's lots of evidence today, by not only providing care at scale, but providing personalised, specialised, high-quality, compassionate, inclusive care to those individuals. The second question is, if you're looking at the teaching hospitals outside of London, a little bit niche, but there's about 15 to 20 of them. Look at the teaching hospitals outside of London. In the NHS Staff Survey 2024, which hospital was identified as the best place to work? Leicester. I think that's remarkable. 4 or 5 years ago, out of that peer group of about 15, UHL was about the 3rd worst. This year, you look at our peer group of Newcastle and Liverpool and Sheffield and Leeds and Birmingham and Manchester and Coventry and Nottingham and Derby and Bristol and Brighton, and there'll be others I've forgotten about. UHL is voted as the best place to work. We are not perfect. And if you looked at my emails this morning that came in overnight, you will know that we're not a perfect employer, but we are trying really hard to make the experience of working at University Hospitals of Leicester better than it has been. And I think there's a direct correlation between being a good employer and providing high-class healthcare to the people who use our services. Final question. Which hospital in the UK has the strongest research agenda? No, it's University College London Hospitals in exactly the same joke as I did last year. 3 slightly different questions though. But Leicester does have a world-class biomedical research centre. We've got 7 themes in partnership with the University of Leicester and with Loughborough, University Hospital Northamptonshire, and in particular at the Glenfield site with our respiratory, with our cardio services and others. The research that takes place in Leicester is amongst the best in the world, not just in the NHS. We're focusing at UHL and doing 3 things really well, and I've touched on some of them. We want to provide the best quality of healthcare we can do to our people. I think, as was suggested, if you look at the media at the moment, we all know the difficulties that the public sector is under. We know that the challenges that the NHS are under. Speaking to colleagues today, we are really feeling the pressure at the moment. UHL continues to make progress, not at the speed that we want, but it continues to make progress, and we're motivated by providing the best quality of healthcare we can do to all. The second thing we're focusing on this year is being the best employer we can be, and I've touched on that. Things are getting better for the majority of people, but it's not yet a culture that Andrew Moore, our chair, who would be here, but he's on annual leave this week, myself and other colleagues are happy about. I'm acutely aware that if you look at me, I'm a man, I'm white, I am heterosexual. I've also normally got a name badge on that says Chief Executive. My experience of working at UHL and UHN is atypical. In general, I am made to feel welcome. I certainly feel safe at work. I feel included. I feel listened to. They are the basics. That's not the case for all 30,000 people, but it is beginning to change. I'm really pleased about that. And then the final thing we have to do, and it's sort of all over the news at the moment, we must deliver our plan this year. Delivering the plan involves caring for the 3 million or so patients that I referenced, but it also includes spending our money wisely. And as Sunita was saying, whilst we are well funded, I'm apolitical in my working life, we are well funded. We receive about £2.9 billion a year, huge amounts of money across Leicestershire and Northamptonshire, but the pressure we are under and the volume of services we are providing exceeds that amount of money. So we really are, despite spending £3 billion a year, looking every single day now at the pounds and pence. And that is why the work of the people in the room, all of our donors and supporters and the other people who supported, that is why it's so important. The people in this room over the last couple of years, you have raised a remarkable £221,000 for us. Give yourself a round of applause. That money is making a ginormous difference, whether it is the services that Lou provides at the Leicester Royal, whether it is the Leicester General, the Glenfield Hospital, our community hospitals. It makes a difference to a huge amount of people. You are enabling us to provide better care than we otherwise would be able to. You are supporting UHL to be the best employer across its peer group across the NHS. So from the bottom of my heart, as somebody who's had their children born at the Leicester General, as somebody whose neighbour is currently receiving inpatient care at the Glenfield, as somebody who's recently had a child receiving inpatient care at the Leicester Royal, I know at first hand the difference that you are making, and I'm very, very grateful for that. If you haven't been to the Secret Garden before, it's a fantastic venue. Are we all happy with the weather? Yes. You want us to change the weather today? Good, because I can't do that. Carter has got a better chance of having work than I. But it is beautiful here. Thank you to Karen and the team. This was a sort of derelict mess 6 or 7 years ago, and Karen has put a huge amount into this. It's a real place of sanctuary for the people of the Glenfield and beyond. I would love to stay with you for the rest of the day, but I've got a child who's in a football tournament, a final of a football tournament this afternoon that I do need to go and spend some time with later. But from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for everything that you're doing. I'm really proud to call Leicester home. I sense that you are as well. I hope you have a fantastic day, and whether you are a donor, a supporter of the hospital, whether you're just an interested party, or whether you work at University Hospitals of Leicester, if I can ever help you, please do get in contact and let me know. I wish you a fantastic afternoon and a fantastic weekend. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. I mean, I should know all the answers to that quiz, and I always get that last one every single time we get it. But thank you very much. Those reflections and highlighting of how powerful those partnerships are that we have with you all is really, really, really welcome. But also the fact that you, and it is literally you who've done the database work, every one of you in this room collectively, having raised £220,000 for the hospitals, I think that deserves another round of applause. Okay, now we're going to turn to someone who sees the impact of your generosity every day in one of the hospital's busiest and most vital services. She's on her 13th consecutive day of work, so I'm so pleased that you're here, Kate. So if you could please welcome Kate Hodgson, Clinical Director for Cancer, Haematology, Urology, Gastroenterology and General Surgery, or CHUGS, as we call it here in General. Thank you.
Hi, does that work? Yeah. No, it's all right. I'm Kate Hodgson. Day by day, I'm a haematologist, so I look after patients with blood cancers, particularly acute leukemia. And for the last couple of years, I've been clinical director of CHUGS, which is, for me to say, is a mouthful, but involves looking after cancer patients a lot of the time. So not exclusively, but we look after patients in the Osborne building. So I look after the oncology service, but we also look after the patients on their earlier diagnostic pathways. And I look after the general surgeons and urologists who do a lot of cancer surgery. But my passion is the Osborne building, obviously. And we get the opportunity to get to know our patients. We look after people in the sort of care I do through some really torrid times. And what's absolutely amazing is the way that people want to give back afterwards, and they give back when things have gone really well, and they are even more generous sometimes when the outcome isn't the one that any of us were looking for. It's amazing to see how people respond as families, as friends, to see how people are motivated when it's a colleague at work, and we often find that, somebody's off work, they're missing from that team, but the response from the people left behind isn't to feel sorry for themselves that they're a member of staff down, it's to rally together and raise money to help support the hospital looking after their colleague. It's exactly the same when a family's lost somebody to cancer, and instead of feeling sorry for themselves, they work out how they're going to give back and celebrate. And it's absolutely humbling part of what we see when we're looking after patients and families, and the things that those individuals and groups are able to buy and support are amazing. Sometimes it is stuff that I wish the NHS could afford. So I asked one of my senior nurses what she was spending her next charitable funds on, and unfortunately she had to tell me it was buy some new drip stands. And it's really sad that we have to go to charity for things like that. But we also know that it's about the extra things. So it's patients who've sat all day wishing they could have a cold drink and thinking afterwards about fundraising so that they can buy the water fountain, so that not just the patients but the staff have free access to cooled water. It's like Sunita said about creating spaces that are more comforting and more human for people to receive their care in. So we hear about all the amazing technology that we've now got that allows us to care for cancer patients, and we're really good at that technical stuff, but being able to have people who remember that each of those individuals is a person with a story, with a family, and create spaces that are less clinical and that are more friendly and more comforting makes a massive difference to those of us who are working. And Sunita also touched on the role of charity and research. So we work very closely in the Osborne building with the Hope charity, which is our local Leicester Cancer charity. And it's absolutely amazing to hear just this week about how the NHS is the first health system in the world that's going to fund a new drug, called a Trojan horse drug for patients with myeloma or blood cancer. And we know that patients in Leicester have been accessing that drug for years now because we've been taking part in clinical trials which are supported by the Hope unit. So charitable giving crosses all of the work that I do and makes it much easier for me as a clinician to give the technical care, but to make sure that our patients are getting access to what they need and also being looked after and cared for whilst we're doing all of that. So from the bottom of my heart, a huge thank you to all of you. It's absolutely remarkable the response people have when tragedy strikes, and instead of looking inwards they look outwards, and it makes a massive difference to those of us that look after patients. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you so much for giving us a real insight into the real life impact that the donations that people so generously give is having on cancer services in particular. Like you said, from completing the appeal that many of you supported for the extension of our chemotherapy suite, and now we're turning our gaze to extending our aseptic lab to create more opportunities for research and creating chemotherapy options for our patients. So it all makes such a difference. But for now, I'm going to ask us to have a little bit of change of pace. And we're going to have a moment of movement. For those who were here last year, you may recall some of the wonderful work that we showcased at that time. Because throughout the year, as a charity, we're really proud to support all the different arts and well-being initiatives that really does lift the spirits of those who spend time in our wards. And we thought, what better occasion than to give you all a small sneak peek and a flavour of what that work actually entails. So please join me in welcoming Helen Sterling, who leads Move Towards, which is a wellbeing dance project that's bringing joy and connection to patients and staff alike. And I hope you're ready to get involved.
Hi, I've been working